All right, we are now live. Hello, Stefania.
Hello, Zanetta. How are you?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. Thank you for asking.
It's
I
beautiful.
missed you.
I missed you too. It's
Yeah.
been it feels like it's been ages, even though it's been a week. It's just like it's been an extended week, I think, this week, hasn't it?
Yes. Yes. Well, let's welcome everyone.
Yes.
Welcome to Fun Fresh Friday.
Welcome. Dun, 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 dun. We
Yeah.
should have a music intro, don't you think? We should have like a
Hmm.
fun, fresh Friday intro. I have to
Well,
work on that, I
yes, we need to work on that and
think.
jam to it.
Exactly. End of the week jamming.
Yes. Yes. So,
Oh,
I actually wanted to give a shout out.
good.
I want to give
Who's
a shout out to you.
to me?
Yes, to you.
Really? Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
you did absolutely wonderful last week.
I did? Oh
Yes,
yeah,
you
that's right. Because we had the session, that's right, and you weren't there, the hugging, about hugging. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, that
Did
was
you
really
did you
good.
enjoy that? Did you enjoy
I
that?
did. Well, a little bit that I was able to get in and watch. So that was really good. And the interaction was really good. So yeah, shout out to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was
You conquered your fear.
I have. I have.
Yeah.
Big time. And I love the subject. I love the topic that we have today because I think, well, I can't say for everybody, but we've all experienced fear,
Oh
certainly,
yeah.
at
Yeah.
one time or another, sometimes more, sometimes less. And, how do we deal with it? Do we conquer it?
Mm,
Do we dance with it?
mm. Good,
Or do we
good,
run from it?
good question. Good question.
I like that. That just came out of my top of my head, dancing with fear.
Yeah, yeah. So, since you already went into the topic,
Zoom,
let,
zoom.
let's let's delve right in. Let's dig right in.
Mhm.
So, um, and the reason why I picked this topic is because we do deal with um, uh, fear. Not necessarily um, not necessarily I don't want to talk about the phobias because phobia is totally different from that's a different level of fear.
Mhm.
But we're talking about the fear of uh, getting into a relationship.
Yes.
the, the fear of speaking, the
Yes.
the fear of those immediate fear that we have. And I
Mhm.
think it would be a good topic because there are certain things that I said, oh no, I don't want to do that, and I was asked the question why, and
Mm.
I couldn't give an answer outside of I must be fearful.
And
So
often we can't give an answer, really, can we? We just like go in
yeah,
fight, flight, freeze mode. The
yeah,
primitive brain just goes, clicks in, and
yeah,
we're free.
yeah. So we're going to do some acknowledgments here. We have Monica Young. Hello and happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday, Monica.
Sometimes we have to live with it. That is true. Maybe we'll delve into that. Depends on the situation. Yes, Rich,
Yes,
it does.
hello, Rich. Welcome. He's from California, by the way.
Oh,
Rich is
oh,
from
is he? Oh, awesome.
California.
Thank you for joining at 5:30.
Mhm.
Fear is a healthy thing at times.
Hmm.
Indeed. So we're
Wise
going
word.
to, we're going to delve into that as well. Hello, ladies. Hi, ladies. That's from Phil.
Phil. Phil is
Thank you
from
so
Melbourne.
much. Thank you so much for joining and chiming in already. So, there is this saying, or it was coined a long time ago, and I want you to tell me what you think about it and how do you view it, and also
Mhm.
the viewers, uh, how you view this saying, the acronym of fear, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. So, what is your take on it, Stefania?
Well, I think I know that that is an acronym that people use, and you know what? I've really like I couldn't get my head around it in the beginning. I'll be honest, right? But obviously, over the years and doing lots of work on myself and self development and really working with fear, because I put my hand up. I have had my fearful times. But you know what? I've really worked out that there is some truth in that now after so many
How so?
years.
How so? How did you come to
Why?
that conclusion?
Okay, because I started looking at life a little bit different. And it's a false, what's the acronym? It's a
Evidence
false evidence appearing real.
appearing.
False
Mhm.
evidence appearing real, which I've come to learn that when you look at life, life is just an illusion. Everything that happens around you is, it's like we're in this big fun park
Mhm. Okay.
and we're in a fun amusement park. Let's use an amusement park for, an example. And we walk in and, there's all different rides, isn't there? There's the big roller coaster ride. There's the soft merry-go-round. Then there's, the ET ride. I remember when I went to Disney World in Florida, and that was my favorite ride. The ET. I don't know if they've got that still, but that was like kind of fun, mysterious, spooky. It was just a combination of everything. So
Mhm.
we get to go into this. We are living in this amusement park, and we get to choose what ride we want to go on,
Mm. Okay.
what experience, what fear we want to experience, whether we
Mm.
want to experience it or not. Because
Okay.
at the end of the day, it doesn't kill us. That's the crazy part. The
Mhm.
crazy part is we think we're going to die. We've had
Mm.
so much fear that it's like, oh my God, this is the end. Now I'm not talking about, I mean, thank God I've never had a gun pointed to my head or I've been assaulted in a
Right.
way that's like life threatening, and you can think, oh my God, that where I'm in a situation here that I could be, not here tomorrow.
Mhm.
But we do work up such a story around situations, around, things that are happening, that we go into crazy fear mode and create,
Mhm.
I say, call them amazing stories because they are. When you kind of like take yourself out of the picture, they are pretty imaginative, creative stories that we can create that are either going to empower us or they're going to disempower us.
Right.
So, yeah, is
Hi,
fear
Natalie.
real? Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Fear is, yeah, as Natalie said, fear is real. And that's
Oh.
why we have what did she say?
Oh, this is Monica.
Oh, Monica.
Mhm. Fear is real, feeling, and that's why we have the amygdala.
Right. Well, it's real if you say it's real. It's we're directing it. This is the great part about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is a genie. It's our own personal genie. And we get to tell the genie what we want. And it just commands, follows the commands and says, yep, okay, that's what you want. I will give you that. I will serve you that.
Right. So,
I know I went
since
on
you
a little bit there. I went
no, no, no.
random.
Actually,
I mean,
you
you said,
dabbled a little bit in every area that I wanted to touch on.
mhm.
You kind of, gave a whole synopsis of
Read myself out, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And let me tell you, um, we did not talk prior to this, so it's really good. So that lets me know that we are in sync, lady. The
Okay.
brain tell us fight or flight, and
Mhm.
that is real. Let's see if that is true or not. So, fear. I like how you said we live in this fantasy land, in this amusement park where you choose your thrill. Whatever thrill you want, you choose it. And it, it's um, it's it's amazing as to what we want to conquer or what we want to avoid or what we don't want to get on the ride, whatever ride it is, we don't want to get on it. And then you said, which I want to really hone in on this topic, is that you have created this story. So now this story is going around in your brain. What
Wow.
walking into combat is something most people won't ever experience. In those times, fear kept me alive, and with the grace of God, I'm here. Wasn't the ride I wanted to go on, but here we are. That is so true. So true.
Mm.
Um, and Rich, to tap into that, I'm prime military army, and I did all the training, prior training, for combat. But no training can ever prepare you for the real deal. No
Mm.
training. The fear that grips you at that moment that you hear the rocket or the bomb, or you hear the siren, take cover, or incoming, incoming. The fear that grips you just, you know, uh, it, it pushes away all of the training, but then something grabs a hold of you, and then the training comes back, and then you act. Fear is still there, but now you're, as you say, dancing with it. You are now having this choreography with this fear, knowing that because of the training that I had and going into this war zone that I've put myself in, or I'm faced, I'm able to navigate through the fear and be able to, be vigilant and aware as to what that fear is creating. Do you kind of understand where? Because, so you said we have this narrative, we have this story that we create. So I've never been in a combat position before. I've never had that. Did I have the training? Yeah, it was all fun and games, you
Mhm.
know, you know, with my fellow soldiers. Um, but when you're in the situation, it's no longer fun and games. So now the narrative of what I've seen in the movies, what I've heard of my brothers and sisters from the first Gulf War, from history,
Mhm.
that is now the story or the narrative that is going in my mind. So now I'm having these visions. Now I'm having these different things that are not happening, but I'm in the situation. So, what is fear? Fear is something that we conjure up as,
Mm.
as to the situation. And
Right.
that's the narrative, that's the story. So, what are the stories that we're telling ourselves? What are the stories that are going into our brain? Because if we think it, then the brain does it. the brain acknowledges it. The only time that the brain does acknowledge it is if we've seen it before, we've heard it before, or we've probably read it before. Um, what are the other options? We've seen it, we've heard it, we've read it before.
And we could have possibly felt it in some shape or form,
And
and we're
yes,
kind of like, mapping across that feeling into that
hmm
situation.
hmm yeah. So that now becomes a story in our brain. It now creates this fear, and we're having this vision, even though it's not happening. Then that's when fear comes in. So, is it our creation when we
Okay.
fear?
So I just want to go back a step when you were saying
Go ahead.
that we, you know, either have felt it, seen it, smelt it,
Experienced it. Hmm.
experienced it, any kind of senses. It's our sensory acuity that
Yes.
brings all that adrenaline up, right?
Hmm.
So what happens is you're saying, well, it's not actually happening now, where it might be in a frightful situation, but it's not happening like the story that we are thinking about that happened way back, or. So what actually happens in the brain is what we do is we map across. It's called mapping, okay, in NLP. We map
Hmm.
across that vision, that kinesthetic feeling, that audible
Hmm.
sounds that we got in
Hmm.
our narrative. We map it across and we put it in the now. That's what we're doing. And when
Right.
you're doing that, you're just going to have a massive explosion because
Uh-huh.
you're bringing across something that really isn't real, but you are creating it, you're manifesting it, you're feeling it, you're just
Hmm.
living that moment in your mind. And of course, living that in your mind, your body, your brain is then going to look for that, for evidence.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
automatically do that. And that's the danger. That's the
Yeah.
danger of the narratives, the stories, the
Right.
everything like that. So is it in your mind? I believe so, because we are actually creating it, something that isn't. So if we can do that, and we're so good at doing that,
Hmm.
which I know we're going to probably talk about that later. I know you.
Yes.
If we're
Yeah.
so good at doing that, and you
Hmm.
do it over and over and over, and you just keep getting the same horrific trauma results over and over again. Well, what I can say, because I've told myself, is 10 out of 10 for you. I know that sounds really like
Hmm.
bland, but 10 out of 10, because
Yeah.
you have done a great job at doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And if you know that you can do a great job at creating that narrative, we're not going to label it negative, bad, or whatever, because
Right.
it is
Right.
what it is, right?
Hmm.
If you've done such a great job at doing that, well, hey, you're a genius. Imagine what you could do if you change.
Imagine. Imagine if you just
Imagine.
change the narrative, if you just
Mm.
change the story, if you just change it. Um, so, like what you were talking about mapping, because our brain does that. It does the mapping, of what happened before, or what you heard before, or what you've seen or felt or read before, and your brain automatically maps it. The most amazing thing is that the brain does not know time. It is not bound by time. So,
Mm.
what happened in the past, the brain can't decipher it, it just knows it as now. So, with us, with our way of trying to grasp that, is that tell the brain, oh, no, 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 y- this is not happening. So when the acronym false evidence appearing real, it really isn't false, nor is it evidence. It's just something that we have conjured up or we have created ourselves. And that's where, if we can create this,
Mm.
we can create something else.
Right. And based on our past experiences, just add that
Mhm.
part on, right?
Yeah.
So, because, or you've heard it, because if imagine if you lived in a world of just, I often think, would it be great? Like probably in heaven, but total just love and bliss, no fear, no, everyone's just loving up on each other, and there's no envy, there's no jealousy, there's no fear of attack. There's just this beautiful, wonderful world. And I take that in, just breathe that in, right? Let it out,
Yes.
right? We wouldn't know what that fear is. We wouldn't know how to even conjure up that kind of experience.
No, we would not. Imagine, just take a look at the child. A child has not been exposed to fear.
Yeah.
A child is fearless.
Mm-hmm. In
Fear
every which
in
way.
every which way. So we put that fear in them and like, oh no, 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 no. So they're
Yeah.
hearing this voice, this sound of alarm, this sound of emergency, and they look and they get startled and then they fall. Now they understand, oh, I'm the fear is I'm going to fall and I hurt myself. Now the baby is going through this experience. So
Mm,
now they're, kind of trying to avoid whatever it is because now fear has been introduced. So,
yes.
and that's what it is that when you look at the child, um, I was, I was just my, so, we were empty nesters for a while and now we have this, she was 8, but now she's 10. And she wanted to go on this kayak, on this river. And then next thing we know, she's all in the water. What? Like, you don't know what's in there. You don't know. Oh my God. So our fear was like, and hers was like, oh yeah, I know.
Fun.
So yeah. So if you look at the child does so many things that
Mm,
fear has not been introduced. So there are certain things that we've been introduced to that now we react to what we've been introduced.
mhm,
So,
mhm. And that sits very nicely tucked in and away in your subconscious mind, because particularly between the ages of 0 and 8, that's
mhm,
when most of our learnings happen. That's where most of our suggestibilities and all that, because what do? We turn to our parents, our guardians, those that, you know, um, grew us up and took care of us. So we
mhm,
looked up at them as our gods, our saviors, because they fed us, we were safe, we were sheltered. So everything that came out of our parents' mouths,
mhm.
or our caretakers, was sacred and real. We just
Yeah,
lived by that as a Bible, you know.
yeah.
So we don't know whether that's right or wrong, because we're not
You don't.
identifying right and wrong. We're just identifying with familiarity and
Yeah.
what feels safe and right. So of course, when you bring that into, adult life, and we start getting all these triggers happening and we don't know why. Well, this is
Mm.
why, because it all kind of started back then.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
You know,
interesting.
I'm
Have
gonna
a,
have
have a yeah, we've got some
yeah.
interesting
Um,
comments.
I I think that some people experience fear and become addicted to the adrenaline rush. So true.
Mm,
So true. And that is one of the drugs that our body produces, um, that people really get addicted to. And that's where the drama comes in. That's where
mhm,
the, depression comes in because of those different chemicals that our body produces. And we
mhm,
get so addicted to that we become dependent on it. So so there are some individuals that do get addicted to the adrenaline of what or the chemicals that our body produces. So here's a question: what if it is something that surfaced that we were not aware of, and then we had to face the fear of the unknown? That as human beings, we always want to know. We want information. We want to know what to expect. Um, oh, yes. So these are the things that is normal for human beings. We don't want to be surprised. I mean, surprise as in a birthday or a gift or a, a good friend or surprising us. That's totally different. But we don't want something unexpected. We want to know certain things. If you get a phone call saying, "Oh, I'm at the hospital. So and so is here," fear comes in. You know, fear just immediately grips because we associate hospital as something very terrible happened.
Mm.
So then we have that narrative. We want to know what, how, when, where, what's going on. So when we're faced with something that we are unaware of, the fear of not knowing, that's what happens. That's what happens in the brain. So we start again to map. We start to fill in the gap. We start to fill in the story. We start to fill in, certain things. Um, One thing that I don't know if anybody is guilty of this. I know I am. So I know I am. Let me give an example. So I know I'm rushing on this project, right? And I know this. Now I'm thinking the reason why my supervisor emailed me and said, give me a call. Oh my God, she's going to rip me open a new one because she knows this case I need to turn in, and all these thoughts are coming into my mind, and so now we're like, oh, I'm trying to avoid it. I'm not trying to. So then finally she calls. I'm like, oh God. And then she tells me a different story.
Mm. That's a typical example.
So that's something that we do as human beings. We only respond to what we know or what current state we're in.
Mm. Which means, which
Hmm.
means if we change our state, we
Mm.
can handle situations differently.
Yes.
But before I'm going to tell you a tip on how to change our state, I want you to read out what Rich had to say because that was quite interesting.
Yes. By the way, your service is appreciated. Thank you, sir. Rangers lead the way. Yes, they do. 75th, 3rd Battery. All right. So you might know a little better than most what we do. I learned to channel my fears and directly into overcoming the situation. Yes. Yes. Um, Now, I'm going to tell you this much. Rich has faced more fears than I will ever face.
Yeah. Yes.
Rangers are one of the elites of our military. They don't get a lot of recognition, but because they're you'll never know that they're there. Um, so what they go through is they actually go into the territory, into enemy's territory. So their fear is more, you know, uh, geared towards survival, geared towards, how to navigate through that. to get rid of fear is not really a good thing. It's keep a little bit of it. Keeps you on your toes. That little sense of fear keeps you on your toes because it makes you aware of
Mm.
every situation. So, but to be fearful or full of fear, then that's not a good, situation to be in either. So, go ahead. Go ahead and tell what you were about to say.
Yeah, so I think that you're right there in having saying that you need a little bit of it because, like you said and Rich said, it fuels you. It's like this pump that gives
Hmm.
you that bit of extra boost and energy. But in those given situations, so you don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed by the fear, because at the end of the day, we've got choice. We can either sit in that fear, dwell in it, create it, make it nice and big and explode it. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, draws us down into a real rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Or we can decide, well, I can't change the situation, that's whatever's happening externally around me, but I can certainly change the way I feel about it or how I'm reacting to it, because it's our reaction, it's all our adrenaline, it's all those emotions, energy
Hmm.
in the motion. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
it's energy just moving through our bodies. How can I won't use the word control, but how can I handle this better, that I have a
Mm.
better way of dealing with this given situation that I'm faced with? And I call it the three magical B's. It's BBB,
Mm.
bit of fun
Okay.
here. And the first thing that I tell people to do is just take a breath, breathe.
Hmm.
And when you breathe, you get present. You just come back into your body, because when you're in this, fear mode, you're all over the place. And you're mapping,
Right.
your brain is all over the place. You're even actually outside your body.
Hmm.
That's how, creative we can be. So breathe, come back into your body. And then, this doesn't have to take very long. And then just remind yourself of your body language, like really just feel your body. And if you're slumped over, or just pull your shoulders back, just straighten up your posture. Just imagine a long cord or a string just pulling you up, head up. So you're already changing your posture. And the minute you change your posture, that's already opening you up for, you know, change. You're changing.
Hmm.
You're changing
Hmm.
your state. You're changing your state through breathing. You're changing your state through your body.
Hmm.
And then the last one is just change your belief. Just like that. Your intention. No, this is what's going to happen. No, I'm not going to be gunned down by these. I'm going to be, this is what's going to happen. You're going to quickly change your intention, your belief pattern of what you want your outcome to be. Very quickly. And if you can do it like that, it just changes everything.
Yeah.
And you're then mapping across quickly as to what you want and how you want to feel. And that's just basically changing your state in a given moment very, very quickly. So it's the three B's, applying this very simple three B's.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to tell you a story, if I can
Go
quickly
ahead.
tell you a story
Yes,
of a
please do.
fear that I experienced many, many years ago. And this was when I was living in New York. I think I told you that I lived in New York. Yeah. And I was working at the time at a bar, right? A bar. I was living in I was living in Tremont, the Bronx, the Bronx. Yeah, it was like, oh, I don't even know how I kind of, when I think back, I actually at the time never told my mum, because like the Bronx here in Australia is like the worst place you could be living. And I remember this one particular night, okay, because I was at the time, I was working for very, very little, money per hour. I think at the time it was probably about $3, $4 an hour. But I would make a lot by my tips, okay? I can't even remember, but I remember at the time I made a lot of money. Then when I went back to Barbados, I actually bought myself a car, right? A little car, a little Suzuki. So the story goes that I would catch the bus to a certain point, get dropped off, right? And then I'd
Uh-huh.
have to walk 2 blocks to get to my place that I was living. I could have caught the subway, but the subway was too scary because I was on my own all the way. By catching the bus, I would um, be in the bus with the bus driver. And at the time, like I would finish at 3, 4 in the morning, right? It's
Mm,
crazy hours. And this guy he used to think I was just a crazy woman to be hopping on a bus at that hour. But I had it all worked out that I would not talk to anybody. I would look down. I would have my purse underneath my jacket.
mhm.
So no one knew I had a purse. And I would just walk and just not look and not talk to anyone. Because the minute I would open my mouth, they knew I was a foreigner too. I wasn't from there. So I would catch this bus, and it would leave me 2 blocks away, and I would have to walk. Now, in between that drop off and where I lived, there was an empty block. Like you've been obviously at New York,
Mhm.
buildings, apartments, and there was this one block that literally had nothing. It was just an empty block. They had 2 dogs there. They had a Rottweiler and a Doberman, right? But these dogs I loved. I would see them and talk to them because I used to leave in the afternoon and go to work, come back at night. And I used to greet them so that we built a little rapport. I know animals recognize you. So that one particular night I was walking, and all of a sudden I heard, no joke, I heard like a can roll. It was like a movie thing, right? I'm telling you, I created this huge story in my head. I heard this can roll and I turned behind me. It's like 3 in the morning. There's all these cars parked, couldn't see anyone behind me.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's someone behind me. There's someone following me. And I'm walking, and then I'm walking, and then I'm walking really fast. And as I come up to the empty block where the dogs were,
Mhm.
lived, I didn't greet them, did I? I just was walking really fast because I thought someone was behind me. So as I came up to them, and they must have realized, I don't know, dogs are so sensitive, like they barked, they started, man, I just bolted. I literally just hid it in my pants. Literally, my heart was pounding. I got to my house, turned around, there wasn't anybody there. Sonetta, nobody was there. I had conjured up this whole story that I was going to get murdered, raped. I don't know. I was just thinking all this crazy stuff just because a can was rolling, which the wind could have picked up. I don't know. Could have been someone, but there was literally no one there.
Yeah.
So I had obviously watched too many night movies of New York,
Mhm.
the
Or it
streets of New York.
or it could have been the most scariest thing in New York, the
Yeah,
rats.
the rat. Yeah, well, I never came
That
across those, but yeah, I created this. I literally was living the fact that that was the end of my life. Yeah. So the story is we are wonderfully wonderful at creating um,
yes.
stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna that's one of them, walking in late at night or early in the morning, and uh you don't actually uh buses, I love New York. I'm just gonna tell you that. I love New York. I I was stationed in New Jersey, Fort Dix, and I would escape New Jersey to go to New York where I felt safer.
Really? Wow.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And I would go to the Bronx. I would go to Queens. I'd go to Coney Island by myself. I was, a young, I, I guess during that time, fearless soldier of 19 going to, New York, and I loved it. I found out that if you walk and you acted like New Yorkers, they'll leave
Right.
you alone. They
Correct.
will
And that's what I learned very
leave
fast.
you alone. So that's what I did. I acted and walked and talked like New Yorkers.
Yeah.
I made sure that my my A was ah. I'm
Uh-huh.
going into
Uh-huh.
my car. So, but here, I used to always feel anxious when speaking publicly. And I had a mentor that would tell me it doesn't matter if you have some fear, just do it afraid. And that changed my life. So that's what's the most, that's the top, actually, the most thing that people fear is speaking publicly.
Yeah.
That is at the top of the list. And the reason why we have fear of public speaking is because, one, we don't want to freeze. Two, we don't want to forget what we're saying. Three, we don't want to stumble over things. And just getting up by yourself and talking to all these people is a frightening thing because you feel like you're alone.
Mm.
So those are the different fears that comes about, and the anxiety of public speaking and the fear that comes with it, because we've seen movies, somebody, on stage getting laughed at. That's what we don't want. We don't want
Mm.
to get humiliated, or someone is booing. We've seen that, and we don't want to get booed. you know so these are the different fears, or different stories, or different narratives that we start to conjure up in our mind. And that's how, we start to have that fear, and then it turns into a phobia. Now, that goes to the extreme. So, yes, better cops in me. um, so, yeah, so it's the things that we tell ourselves is what we really need to take inventory. We really need to check. Why are we fearful in getting into a relationship?
We haven't touched on that yet.
Not
Oh
yet.
boy.
Yeah. Why? Why are we fearful getting into a relationship? Why are we fearful in speaking? Why are we fearful in going solo on a show?
Yeah, thank you.
Why?
Not
Why?
anymore.
Huh? Not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
Right. So these are the things that you need to ask. Um, we need to ask ourselves, what is it? What is it
Mm.
about it that is causing me to um, fear?
Mm.
Well, here we go, fear of rejection.
Yeah, I
So,
was just gonna say
what
that.
is so bad about rejection?
Mm. That's right. We have got a misconstrued idea about rejection. Let me tell
Right.
you.
What is so bad about rejection?
It's only
And
feedback. It's only feedback.
it's only feedback. And what is so wrong about failure? So, these are the things that we put ourselves in a position, in a stuck position, because of these certain things, these certain fears, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of humiliation, the fear of um, being ridiculed. So these are different things that
It
it,
hurts.
it hurts. Oh,
How does it hurt, Rich? Let us know.
right. What hurts?
What
What
hurts?
what type of fear, or the result of it that you're trying to avoid, um, hurts? Is it fear of rejection, or is it the rejection, or is it the failure? What hurts? Um, or the humiliation? What hurts? If you take a look at it, failure is the next step to success.
Yes. Yes.
Failure is the next step to success, because failure tells you this didn't work. It gives you information, it gives you feedback, right? That's what failure does. Failure tells you, Okay, this didn't work.
How can I do it differently? How can I
Next.
improve on this? Yeah.
Right. Next.
And rejection is the same thing,
Rejection is the same.
Zanetta, I was just talking to an earlier. Rejection's the same thing because it's feedback as to, okay, how can I do it better? How can I do it differently? How can I change it around? And a rejection from one person doesn't mean everybody's rejecting you as well.
Right.
That's the other thing, because we think, oh, one person's rejected us, the whole world's going to reject us. And that's not the case.
Yeah. 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 So, but we have that in our mind. Once we fail, oh, I'm going to fail all the time. Or once I'm rejected, I'm going to be rejected all the time. No. If you're in sales,
Mm.
the first rejection, you, you want to quit, sales is not for you. You know, being an entrepreneur, um, if the first no, you get intimidated and you don't want to do it anymore, then entrepreneurship is not for you, because you will have to hear no several times and be able to say, okay, this is a no here, but I know there is a yes somewhere.
Mm.
So it's the same thing. There's always going to be a yes. There's always going to be a success. There's always going to be, that whatever result we're looking for, we cannot stop in looking for it until we
Mhm.
get it.
Exactly. And the same thing goes with dating and relationships and having, getting into a real, heartfelt, loving relationships. Because a lot of times there has been so much rejection and pain and hurt that we don't, sometimes we get into that vortex of love doesn't, it's not real anymore. There's like, it doesn't exist. I won't find the right person. I won't find the one that'll love me back. And you're creating this whole, again, story of what cannot be. And you sit in it and you marinate in it so well that
Hmm.
you actually are creating that in your life. What fear of not going well, like, that's the whole part of the journey as well, like getting to know someone, having that fun experience. And I guess going back to that, amusement park that I was talking to you about,
Hmm.
I mean, you're going to have just different rides with different people.
Right. Right.
Take it like that, and then if you want to stay for another ride, you stay, you keep staying, but know your outcome. I think when you
Hmm.
know your outcome, you know what you want, then you've got a better direction as to how to navigate through. And, put fear into the equation, that it can be a dance. Dance with it rather than freeze and fight it, or flight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
book by Susan Richards, I think, or Richardson, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Have
Mm.
you read that book, Zanetta?
I have not.
It's amazing. It's really, really good.
Mm.
One of my, well, I got it about 10 years ago, but it's, it's feel the fear and do it anyway.
Mm.
Feel it the way that you reframe it, map it
Hmm.
across differently, and your outcome will be different.
Yeah. So this was I was not allowed growing up. I had to learn that as an adult. So these are the different things that were taught as kids. You know, um, you're supposed to you know um, succeed all the time, or um, that uh, the word no is a bad thing. Uh, so these are the different things that we're taught as a kid, and but as an adult, we take a look at that, and like what you said, we take things that happen as a kid and we bring it to an adulthood, and that's where all the fear starts coming in. So let's take no it when you put your heart and soul into a relationship and do everything you can, it fails, it hurts. That is true. uh, it's hmm. So yes, you do put your whole heart and soul into a relationship. Um, but I'm going to ask this, Rich. Were there telltale signs? Were there red flags?
Mm.
Were there certain little things that popped up that gave you a clue that this was not going to work? I just want to know.
Mm. And
I just,
we so
just want to
comfortably
know.
avoid, yes.
Of course, there were. So here's where the fear of rejection or the fear of going into another relationship comes in. It's because when a person goes into a relationship and they want it to work, it's um, um, they know it's there's some signs, but we feel like, especially women, we feel like we can nurture it. We feel like that we can, you know, try to mend it. Um, with men, they feel like that they can be the house band. You know, that's why it's called a husband. It's a house band. They're the ones who are the glue that brings that family together, keep it together. So they have that tendency to um, the fixer. Oh, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to, have, you were hurt in the previous relationship. Well, I'm going to fix that hurt. You can't. You can't fix a hurt that somebody else placed in somebody else. You can teach them how to overcome it, but you can't fix it. You can love them through it, but you can't fix it. So um, there's just certain things that um, we are through failure, through failed relationships, through rejection. We get clues.
Mm.
We get a little bit wiser. We get a little bit more knowledgeable. We get a little bit more aware of
Mm.
certain things. So the question would be, am I healed or have overcome this failure, this rejection, this failed relationship before I go to another?
Mm.
Because all you're doing is just transferring, right? So that's where the fear comes in. Yeah.
Well,
See,
you
and
said,
see right there. But children were involved. See, these are the excuses that we put in our mind as to why we stay a little bit longer
mm,
because of the children, because of whatever it is, because of mom, because of dad. We don't want to hurt the children. The children don't deserve this. Neither do you.
right. Mm.
Neither do you. We hit the override button. Yes, we do. Yeah, push that button. Yeah. So understand where your fear is. Where is it? Where are you placing your fear? Is it placing your fear because you don't want to get hurt anymore? Or are you placing your fear where you don't even want to try
Mm.
anymore?
Or you're placing your fear because you don't want to be alone. You think you're going to be alone. So you prefer to just sit in a situation
Mm,
that doesn't serve you anymore. Because,
yeah,
what do? We fear the unknown, as was it Monica said? Yeah.
I
But,
did.
when you don't know that you don't know what you don't
Yeah.
know, you just don't know. And that gives you the opportunity of either sitting in fear in that unknown
Hmm.
or creating, saying, well, I don't know, but I can create. I can
Yeah.
create the life that I want to, attract the person that I want to in my life. Um, and that's where I think, working on yourself is really, really important because just going back a step where, you want to be the house band
Yes.
Keeping your family together, keeping your wife happy, if it's a man, or vice versa with, a woman, but we're talking about men here. You're trying to keep happy wife, happy life, but you can't change her. You can't make her do. We're
Yeah.
responsible for each of our own growth and development.
Right. Right.
We are
Be-
really responsible for that. And if either party doesn't take that responsibility, you know, that should be questioned as well. That should be a conversation, particularly when you really want to
Oh
stay in that
yeah.
relationship. You really
Yeah.
know that you really love each other, but there's things that don't work. How can we make this work? Let's have a conversation about how can we both work on ourselves, so then
Right.
when we come together, we're not having those repeated, you know, fights,
Right.
patterns that are going on all the time.
Yeah. And if you take a look at it, happy wife, happy life. I wonder who said that. And I wonder if that is, the truth. The truth is happy husband, happy wife, happy life.
Right. But we
We,
have
we
to,
tend to
to
forget the
correct.
husband. We tend to push the husband
But
away,
exactly.
and it seems like the husband is being put in a position, oh, I have to make my wife happy so that my life would be happy. So it's more like giving in or compromising, or let me
Mm.
just make her happy so that I
I don't
won't
have to
be,
deal with it.
and
Exactly.
yeah, I don't have to deal with it. So that is totally wrong.
It's a cop out.
Yes, in my opinion. In my
Yeah.
opinion, no.
Yeah.
Happy husband, happy wife, happy
Happy
life,
life.
happy
Exactly.
children.
Happy children.
So yeah, definitely want to try again. Um, and she knows it. I think that's cute. I'm like, she knows it. I think. So yeah, it's an inner thing. It's an inner work. It really is.
Mm.
So it's just like the amusement park, right? I've Jeff introduced me to this roller coaster. I really don't like riding roller coasters. I don't see the need for it. I think
Mhm.
at first I was like, meh, it's stupid. Who goes to an amusement park, pays all that money, and for you to scream,
Yeah. And have
and
your intestines kind of like swished
right?
around.
I'm like, why? This is just so stupid. So Jeff loves roller coasters. So he was like, "No, you're gonna ride with me." I was like, "Okay." So he introduced me to. We went to Walt Disney Land, and he introduced me to this large roller coaster that, oh my god. Um, and I was so scared. I was so fearful. My heart was pounding. My hands were sweating. I was like, oh my God. But when I wrote it and afterwards, I was like, oh my God, that was the most exhilarating thing I have ever experienced. And so he was like, so how does it feel? I was like, now I know the result. I know it's not going to kill me. I know it kind of made my emotions, my feeling go up and down, which was the thrill of it, of course. And then afterwards, it was like, whew, I survived that. I was able to do that. So it was exhilarating. It was like a celebration afterwards. And so now he takes me to these other rides. And the one that really got me was Tower of Terror.
Hey, that's the one that goes straight up and straight down, isn't it?
Oh, yes. And it was unpredictable. You
Mm.
because it's reset itself, or it'll go up to a floor and then it'll drop, however, and then it'll go. So it's not a set like the roller coaster. Once you ride it, you know it now. You know when it's going to go down, when you know it's going to go up, because it's a set thing. Oh, but that Tower of Terror, it was not a set thing. So
Oh
it
wow.
was unpredictable, but you knew what it was going to do,
Mm.
but you didn't know when. That was the thrill of it.
Mhm.
So that's what happens when you've gone through something, you already know how it feels. You already know the ups, the downs, the thrill of it, or the clenching your the gripping your hands on the rail or whatever it is and closing your eyes. You already know this, and you know the result. You just don't know when or how it's going to come, but you know it.
Yeah,
So go for another ride.
that's it. Yeah, go for that ride that you feel that you want to go on.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a little bit of a thrill and experience the unexpected, well, then allow yourself to do that as well, I think, because sometimes we don't allow ourselves. Um, and there could be learnings. That's the thing, because out
Yes.
of every experience, particularly in relationships and relationships that don't go well, relationships that don't end well as well. You don't know the possibility it doesn't end up well, the possibility it could end up well. But whatever way it goes, there's always a learning. And if you can take away those learnings, that's where the magic is. That's where you're going to
Yes.
be freed. That is where the freedom comes in.
Yes. And the most amazing thing that I find out about failure or a failed relationship and rejection is that you get to know yourself a little bit better.
Hmm.
You get to know yourself where you thought you weren't sensitive. Now you know you're sensitive. Where you thought you were sensitive, now you know you're tolerating. You have more courage, you have more, so you get to know yourself a little bit better with these other, with these relationships that you have gone into, or failed relationships, or failed friendships, failed jobs, whatever it is, whatever failure or rejection it is. You get to know yourself a little bit better,
Hmm.
and the better you know yourself, the better your choices will be next time.
Absolutely. Yeah, because that's the other thing too. You got to take note. You can't just keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, right? You have to take action, because knowledge without action, it's not powerful. They say knowledge is power. No, well, knowledge
uh,
without action,
Without
knowledge and action,
application.
application, that's what makes it powerful. That's what's
Yes.
going to get you the results. So,
Yes.
you know, changing your trajectory, going a different route. Try it, play
Hmm.
with it, be that child, be
Yes.
that fearless child. So I think that's, if that can be something that we can anchor in and say, just want to be like that child. Actually, it was really funny. I was looking through Facebook yesterday, and you know how they have those Facebook reels, and there's this
Mhm.
one um, reel or followings, and it's all on babies. You get to watch babies do all crazy things. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, I think it's somewhere. It's the people that have got it somewhere in the Middle East, because they got Arab language and music in the background. But I tell you what, it was so entertaining. Here I was for about 10 minutes scrolling through all these baby videos, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But not baby babies, but 1, 2, 3 years old, and how
Mhm.
they just are, and their eyes and their expressions and the way they. One little, I think it was a little boy, and they were feeding him, and he was just like, and then the last bit he just like spat it out without a qualm, like, and I thought it was just so funny. Like, look at these children. You know, kids don't have a problem at
No,
all.
no, they don't.
So if we can apply some of those qualities,
Right.
with
Yeah.
reason, obviously, you wouldn't be splatting your food out in front of someone's face, if you didn't like whatever. But it was just the fearlessness that they were displaying that
Yes.
really got my eye. Now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, there was,
Yeah.
um, there's this one picture that is of my brother that we apparently, I think I was still a baby, because my brother's about 4 years older than me, and he was about 4, And the photographer, apparently we were having family photos and everything. And at the time, the photographer got this snapshot of my brother hanging onto the tail of this cat, like literally just pulling on this cat. And you could see this cat was like, get me out of here. And my brother was just pulling it like a rope, like he was trying to reel this cat in through the tail. And I thought that again displays another,
Yes.
fearless, just totally, acting
Yeah.
and just
No
being it,
fear.
no
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah. And and here's a good point, a very, very good point that Monica just put out. They did they do give you the option to exit or get off.
Mm, of those rides, exactly.
Yes. So there is an option. So if you are getting to the point to where, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, give yourself permission to say, you know what?
Yeah.
Not this time.
That's the key word, Zanetta. Give yourself permission.
Yes.
Because
It
a lot
is
of times we
okay.
don't, it's okay. Yeah, a lot of times we just don't give ourselves permission. We give
Yeah.
everyone else permission to do whatever,
Right.
right? But we don't
Yeah.
allow ourselves to take that stance and,
Yeah.
you know,
Give yourself permission to exit, to get off. You know what? I can't do this. And it's
mm,
okay. It is okay.
absolutely.
Do you
Absolutely.
know that we're over an hour?
I know. I just saw that myself. I thought, oh my God.
I
We're
was
going
like,
to stick to an hour. Make sure we go over because, like,
I know.
we do what we do, right? And because the
Right.
conversation, everyone's been so engaging. I think I love it. I really am so grateful
Yeah.
for everybody that's chimed in and that have interacted, and even for those that haven't, because we know there's some lurkers out there.
Oh, I
That
know
just,
them.
yeah.
Because their names pop up on my end. So
Oh,
I'll take a
yeah.
look and I'll be like, oh,
Oh. And that's okay too, right?
yeah, it's
That's
okay.
okay too.
It is okay. Yeah, there's no I'm always saying this, the views and the likes and the comments, it's good.
Mm. But you know
It's
what? Some people even fear the fact of writing something or putting it
right.
up because they fear.
Yeah.
I had one friend say, "Well, I just don't want people to know what I'm following, or I don't want people to know what my thoughts are," which is
Which
fine.
is
But
perfectly
yeah,
fine.
but there was a display of fear of opinions of others, which.
Yes.
Um, but if we can take baby steps,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
that's
just
it.
stepping over those little fear bombs that are here, there, and everywhere, we're just going to be fine.
Yeah. So, to wrap this up, what is your final thought on uh, having fear or having without fear or conquering fear?
Right. Okay. Well, I think the first thing that came to mind when you said that is, you know, allow yourself to just dream, dreaming, but you say, what if I could just remap this whole thing of my life and
Hmm.
look at life like an amusement park?
Hmm.
Literally, if you
Yeah.
can sit with that, it works. I've done it myself and it does work. Um, Sit with it and know that you could go on this ride. You don't have to go on this ride, and just treat it like a dance. Dance with fear. It's not
Hmm.
going to kill you. It certainly won't kill you. It can definitely hold you stuck. But if you move with that energy, because remember, it's an emotion. Fear is an emotion. Emotions are energy in motion.
Hmm.
Move with it.
Yeah.
So you can either, decide to just sit and freeze, or you can dance with it. Move
Right.
with it.
That's right. Look, I want to show this.
Fear of hypnosis. Oh, I know. I know. We're going to have a conversation, Rich.
That's so
We need to
funny.
have a conversation.
So, me, I'm gonna, there's a scripture, and I'm not in no means, saying this for those that um, this is not a religious, kind of thing, but I like how the scripture says it in Second Timothy 1:7. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but that of a sound mind. So it actually talks about a sound mind. Um, it also says, of love and of a sound mind. So, and the reason why I wanted to that was because fear is the mind that is not grounded. It's all over the place, So, but He hasn't given us that. So that means if it wasn't given to us, that means we've made it up. So, and how do we get rid of that? Is to have that mind focus or a sound mind, and to
Mm,
be able to conquer that. So, if you
mm,
have fear of speaking, sign yourself up to speak.
right.
If you have fear of hypnosis,
Rich.
I know
I was
I
that
had
if
to
you
put that in there. Try it out.
I'll
Just
try
one
it. It's not going to kill you. You might like it.
time. Yeah, try it. You might like it. So just try it. Just try it one time. And then you'll be able to know if you'll say yes or give you the option to exit.
That's right. Treat it like that amusement park. Just,
Right.
oh, what's this ride about? Looks interesting.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
Rich, I really thank you for your service. And I salute you, my brother. So, anyway, let me see. Huh. What time is it? Oh, 12, 15 minutes. Okay. So, we will go ahead and if you have anything else, Stefania, go
Oh,
ahead and send us off.
okay. So, as always, I want to thank everybody. Thank everyone who's chimed in, those that are watching us and supporting our Fun Fresh Fridays, which is fun.
Yeah.
And I really had lots of fun today with Thea. We definitely treated it very uplifting, wasn't it? Wasn't
Yes. Yeah.
doesn't have to be dreary and heavy. And I look forward to seeing everyone else. And thank you, Zanetta. Just love hanging out with you as always.
Yes. Yes.
And, sending everyone lots of love and passion from our hearts to your hearts, everybody out there. And yeah, conquer it. Conquer that fear with love. Just map across some love.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thanks with it. All right. Thank you, Zanetta.
Thank you, Stefania. Until next time.
Bye for
Bye for
now.
now.